Alright folks, where'd my earbud go? Is it there? Y'all hear me? I think this is going to be the one and only serious Creedmoor post for this week. I'm out in the garden. It's hot. It's 118 degrees. It's been pretty much above 100 degrees for quite some time now. Really, I guess over the past couple of weeks. I can't even find the sun. It's cloudy, it's drizzling, but it's not a drought buster. It's not enough to do anything. Mother Nature's not serious about raining here in the Carolinas yet, so we're doing the best we can to keep the gardens moist. My last major video, I think I was showing y'all around a little bit. You got to see some of my root crops, a little misdirection, a little this, a little that. But I want to talk about something that's really cool today because I think it's important to people, and I'm not trying to create all that much conflict because I know how important growing is to everybody. It's important to me too, but this year's been particularly tough. It has been difficult. I mean, look at me, I'm soaking. I was out here working last night because it was 118 degrees yesterday. So I figured I'd wait until after the sun went down and come out here under lights and do the best I could. But one thing I discovered is I've got a really nice zucchini plant that's coming in. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I planted black beauties this year. I'm trying to make it so y'all can see me. Garden's pretty much in full swing. I'm busting my hump to keep things going, folks. I really am. This has been the toughest year so far. In so many ways, for so many reasons, and I'm really hoping that the praying that I asked for helps me to get a thorough soaking. If it does, you guys are going to be with me for it. Really been hoping and praying that this would happen, and maybe this event is it. So we're going to talk zucchini today. Planted these guys not long ago. The last time I had a good lunar cycle, I had an opportunity to get out here. So I'm going to turn you around. We're going to talk about them a little bit, okay? We all aren't too busy. But here we have it. This is my black beauty, and she's looking good. She's got big leaves. We don't seem to be having too much predation. I am applying BT. You all have heard me talk about it before. It seems to be helping. And the conditions are so dry, I don't think that powdery mildew is going to be an issue for us. But maybe it will be, because this one little drizzle we're getting, it could be enough to inspire those spores. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, I've got plenty of insects here, folks. Make no mistake about it. Creedmoor is dealing with insects in major ways. Plants are on the whole healthy though. So I'm going to look in here. You can see a flower right in there. The flower is doing really good. There's plenty of flowers that have been pollinated by the bees. And you can see some new growth coming in there. And here is our first fruit. This is going to be harvested today or moments later. And you can see the coarse wood chips. For you new growers, listen folks, I basically just pulled the wood chips back and planted to the finer soil below. That's all I did. I didn't do anything special. I didn't mix in any manure or anything else. You know, I'll pan back a little bit here so you can see a little better. We didn't do anything, but once I take that zucchini, that basically marks it. This thing is going to usher into fruit. They always do. Take the first fruit off. Practice this with all of our crops. And once that fruit comes off, it signals to the plant that either there's something that's eating the fruit because, you know, it was there yesterday and now it's not here today. And if we intend to procreate and make it and survive as a species, we're going to have to do it again. So it's basically all there is to it. You know, I really didn't pull the coarse chips back up against the seedling because, well, I really just poked a little hole and dropped the seed. And you can kind of see this is what that will look like. And one of the reasons why that is because I know how zucchini grows. It grows out wide, vast. Right now, this particular zucchini is about 48 inches around. And when it finishes, it will occupy all of the space, all the way, hopefully I don't fall over here, all the way up to that broccoli. The broccoli is about senescing. You know, once it hits 118 degrees, you know, things like squash and tomatoes and things like that, those are going to be your money makers. They start to produce more. The grapes are doing really well. We've got tent caterpillars here too today. So they got a little super 10. I don't really want them going off too much. Don't need them out of control, and the birds don't seem to be doing anything about it. Additionally, you can see Mike and Kim, they're hanging in there in the face of predation. There's some Japanese beetles, but they aren't slowing down fruit production. There is so much fruit production going on right now. I'll come in a little bit here so y'all can see a cluster. Okay, they're developing really, really well, and this is a plum muscadine variety that the old joke was, and y'all have heard me goofing about which crop is which over the past couple of weeks. But these are blueberries. This is my blueberry crop. Mike and Kim are blueberries. And the reason they're blueberries is because the original owner, the person who purchased them, thought they were blueberries. So I thought it was kind of cute. They brought them to me because they knew I really liked to grow things, and they figured, well, you know, he could use grapes. We're not going to trellis a bunch of grapes. Blueberries maybe, but grapes no. So they've been with me ever since. You know, I coached this particular parent's baseball son, and we developed a really good relationship. So it was a nice addition to my growing area. But Japanese beetles love these things. They love them just like they love roses. And what am I doing about it? You know, I really want to help y'all, but it's not easy to do so. It really isn't easy because everybody has their own opinions and their own ideas about what they want to do. Creedmoor is the same way. So I like to use entomopathogenic fungi. I like to use Beaveria, Bassiana, and Metarhizium Anisolia, as best as I can say those Latin names and words. I use them sometimes if there's inundation levels of insects. I mix in Super 10 because those two myco-insecticides, that's what they call them in the industry, they're effective even if, I'm trying to find some light, folks, they're effective even if you want to put something that might be a quicker kill. In the case, the Super 10 is made from the leaf of the Chrysanthemum plant, so it's organic. It's a wettable powder. It doesn't dissolve very well, so I don't really like to use it. And you can't use it around bees. It's one of the reasons I was out here at night last night, and just trying to give these plants, bushes, and trees a chance. I'll turn you around. You can see over here. Same. My apple tree is basically under attack by them, but it's still producing new growth. So the apple tree itself is pretty healthy, and it'll handle this, folks. Don't get too bent out of shape when you see them. You know, try to feed the plants, try to feed the trees, try to feed them through their roots, through the soil. By working with the soil, you're going to increase the strength and the vigor of whatever species it is. And take in here, you can see here some Japanese beetles. Yeah, they're just sort of resting gently there. Yeah, feeding on my leaves. We got to work on this. Yeah, this baby needs some more compost, needs some more wood chips. But on the whole, you can see all the new tips, the new leaves. So this particular tree, even though it knows it's engaged in predation activities, even though it knows it, it's still able to produce new growth. So whether or not it produces apples is a different story. I don't believe it will, but it's kind of a funny winter, and I don't think we had enough cold. But you can see here, folks, I mean, this is kind of what I'm trying to show you. I've been at it for 14 years, and we still battle the environment, folks. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. I keep saying that. And it's time to vent on top of that. So those of you that are in the north, I work with plenty of folks in the north, you have even less time because your seasons are short. So, I mean, don't discount the chances of greenhousing some of your plants and putting them out as adults, especially if you have a hungry environment like Creedmoor does. Because if you do have a hungry environment, you need a lot of plants to pull this off. You know, and here I can see the little buggers hanging from a thread. So, yeah. So all kinds of stuff is going on here. I'm in a southern growing environment. It's leaf miners working on my Chrysanthemum, you know, whatever they're called. And it's so dry in the onion pots. Of course, these onions are survivors. So dry in the onion pots that they're still doing pretty good. That the irrigation is the only thing keeping them moist. Some of them have already finished for the season and fallen over. Okay. These guys right here, I promised we'd talk about this. These guys right here are actually from last year. I didn't plant them this year. They're from last year. And they looked like this at the end of last summer's, or beginning of last summer's hot season. They started to die down, and it took them a little bit of time. Sorry, I got a call there. Took a little bit of time for them to die down, to lay down. That's what they do this year. They did it again. They lay down. Then when it gets cooler out, they start to grow again. So this is a potted variety, so they do fairly well in small pots like that. And actually, these are ready for harvest. But you can see one here, doing pretty good. And you can see one here that's already laid down. But these guys, these little guys will come back, believe it or not. They will. I wouldn't know that if it wasn't for these and the others that we picked. What else? I don't want to go past 10 minutes. Really don't. The extra corn. I put that extra corn over there. It was supposed to be corn for my corn plot, but as y'all know, my corn plot's over there. It's doing really well, despite the deer's best efforts. So far, they've only been able to come in here and eat some of my blueberries. I've been running them off, trying to keep a close eye on all that. But the corn's doing really well, you know? It is. I'm taking care of it. It's also getting some BT. You can see we're starting to see some improved plant vigor. These are all transplants. or the vast majority of them are, because the first seeding went well, but what happened was the rabbits got in there and they chewed everything down. Whatever the rabbits didn't finish off, I think the squirrels came after and the birds did too. So yeah, so I ended up with those starts that I grew in a protected environment, and then we planted them here, and as y'all can see, they're doing really, really, really well. This bed right here, I'll come down to the ground. Right there is grade, and then you can see it's about 12 to 14 inches of compost with a little bit of wood chips on top now. So y'all, if I've told you about deep mulching, don't be afraid to try. Right here is my volunteer tomato. Someone threw a tomato over here and it is flourishing. The beans are doing really well. The only thing that they've had is low nitrogen bone meal. A couple of guys over there coming in a little bit slow, but who knows, we'll see what happens. The rest of them are just moving along. On the back side of it, we've got the sweet potatoes. They're protected and no longer being assaulted by the deer. So they're developing behind the 2 layers of fencing. And as their vines continue to grow out, I'll just cut them off right at the edge of the gardens. Got a little bit of crabgrass. Y'all see that crabgrass in there? Look at that, look at that. Creedmoor gets crabgrass too. Everything else, Bermuda grass. Okay, so there's my cut edge. Right there, all the way around. It's a lot of work, folks. That's not easy to do, okay? I do that with a shovel and then I maintain it with an edger. But it's a lot of work. Being a BTE grower is a lot of work. Planted some extra beans over here because the rabbits got me on this side. And that right there in the yellow is dill. Normally what I'm doing is I'm taking the flowers down. I let the dill grow and I take the flowers down. Then when my girl wants some dill, she'll come down here and pick the best of it. But you got to be careful, because if you let the dill really, really go to seed, that will take over the entire bed. It kind of did. Paul warned me. But I cleaned it up just before I started sowing, and we're doing really, really good. So, sorry folks, I went too long on this. 12 minutes and some odd seconds. If you like it, stick around, come back for some of the stuff. I'll let you know when I'm joking. But you got to take yourself lighthearted, in a lighthearted way, because it's really tough this year. And I always feel like, you know, if I'm having a hard time, and I was used to having a hard time in the early years, maybe year 1 through 6, and things got better from year 6 through 12, and 13 wasn't too bad. This year is really testing me, you know, it is. We've gotten better at some things. Maybe it seems like we've gotten worse at other things. Not a lot of plants. We're not losing a lot of plants, but I'm working harder. I mean, look at the sweat on my shirt, folks. This stuff's not for the faint of heart. It's not. If you're out there and you might have some type of an impairment, you know, please, folks, don't be afraid to ask for help. Really, I mean, I'm doing my best to teach my young'uns that it should be expected or implied that part of being a family is helping out sometimes when maybe when your elders aren't asking for it. You can just kind of go around, take a look, and see what's going on. You know, if your mom or your grandmom or your dad or your granddaddy is expressing a desire to get out into the garden, and he's experiencing some mobility difficulties because he gave or she gave their entire life to you and to the world, to everything around them, reciprocate by making an effort. You know, you young'uns, I'm talking to y'all. Reciprocate by making an effort. Do what you can. Help to pay what you've received forward. And I think you'll realize that there's an abundance of blessings out there. So if you like my banter, please feel free to like and subscribe, share, whatever. It's all good. I'm going to keep doing it no matter what happens. I just love this stuff. And at some point, maybe we'll make a difference together, right? Peace. God be with you. Bye.